We left the Tibetan pilgrims at Shinkula and began our descent towards Kurgiyak. Until now, there had at least been the semblance of a road. On the other side of the pass, everything changed. The track dropped sharply into a landscape of loose stone, mud, and running water. As the day grew warmer, snow melt poured into the mountain sides, cutting channels across our path and turning sections of the descent into slippery, unstable slope. There was little room for error. At Shinkula, we had felt slightly sheepish about traveling in a top of the range Toyota Fortuner. The pilgrims we had met had traveled all the way to 16,500 feet in a Santro simply to celebrate the Dalai Lama's birthday. We had come in comfort, they had come with faith, and it left us wondering whether, in the high mountains, faith itself was another category of survival. But once we began the descent, those thoughts disappeared very quickly. Now we understood what the vehicle was made for. Four-wheel drive, traction, and suspension were no longer luxuries. On these slopes, they were basic requirements. And more important than the machine was the man driving it. Our respect for Rahul grew with every difficult section. He seemed to understand the terrain instinctively, where to place the wheels, when to commit, when to slow down, and when the momentum was the only thing that would carry us through. As the sun climbed higher, the snowmelt increased. Water appeared everywhere. Streams crossed the track. Mud gathered in the hollows. Rocks shifted beneath the tires. We continued down. By early afternoon, the worst seemed to be behind us. Then, beside the road, we saw something we had not seen since leaving Darcha, a dhaba. We stopped. After hours of concentration, even a glass of hot tea felt like a luxury. Before long, we had company. A group of motorcycle riders appeared on the track. They too had made their way down the difficult slope. In the midst of this wilderness, we spied some road moving equipment. As I approached the bulldozer and the JCB, we found two soldiers from border roads who were there to ensure that the track down from Shinkula was kept open despite the difficult terrain.
गुरु गुरु किधर है?
आगे जगह का देते
अच्छा,
30 किलोमीटर
ये हो गया रिपेयर?
ये हो गया ये हो गया
So where are you going and why are you doing this? मतलब क्यों कर रहे हैं?
Actually, I'm vegan and I'm an environment lover actually. तो ये प्रकृति प्रेम की वजह से ही मैंने वीगनिज्म अडॉप्ट किया. बट हम कभी इस चीज़ पे ध्यान नहीं देते हैं कि अगर हम एनिमल फार्मिंग कर रहे हैं, एनिमल एग्रीकल्चर को बढ़ावा दे रहे हैं, तो उसके कितने ज़्यादा कार्बन फुटप्रिंट्स हैं, उससे क्लाइमेट चेंज कितना ज़्यादा हो रहा है. तो आई टर्न वीगन और यही मैं अब जगह जगह जाकर लोगों को अवेयर करता हूँ कि क्या एनवायरमेंटल इम्पैक्ट है हमारी डाइट्स का और किस तरह से मतलब जो टोटल ट्रांसपोर्ट का अगर हम कंट्रीब्यूशन माने ग्रीन हाउस गैस एमिशंस में, तो उससे काफ़ी ज़्यादा ग्रीन हाउस गैस एमिशंस होते हैं एनिमल एग्रीकल्चर के थ्रू. और अननेसेसरी हम लोग अननेचुरल वे से आर्टिफिशियल इंसर्मिनेशन कर करके उन एनिमल्स की पॉपुलेशन बढ़ाते जाते हैं. तो इट क्रिएट्स अ लॉट ऑफ ग्रीन हाउस गैस एमिशंस क्योंकि मीथेन इज़ मतलब ज़्यादा हानिकारक है मीथेन. तो यही मैं लोगों को बताता हूँ कि कितना डिफॉरेस्टेशन उसकी वजह से हो रहा है उनके लिए फार्म लैंड डेवलप करने के लिए और किस तरह से हम एनिमल क्रुएलिटी को बढ़ावा दे रहे हैं इन सारी चीज़ों. सो आई ट्रैवल एंड अवेयर पीपल अबाउट दिस कि वो अपनी डाइटरी हैबिट से किस तरह क्लाइमेट को बचा सकते.
Do you think that उसकी वजह से क्योंकि आपने नेचर को क्लोज से एक्सपीरियंस किया, तो उसकी वजह से ये इंस्पिरेशन आया या आपको उससे मोहब्बत हो गई?
या इट्स ऑल अबाउट कंपैशन एंड लव. आई हैव कंपैशन फॉर एवरीथिंग. तो एनिमल लव एक अलग चीज़ हो जाती है कि वो कंपैशन है. हमें स्पेसिज्म नहीं करना चाहिए. हम अगर इंसान को इम्पोर्टेंस दे रहे हैं, हम बोल रहे हैं कि हम एनिमल लवर हैं और हम कुत्ते को बहुत कुछ मतलब प्यार से ट्रीट कर रहे हैं लेकिन बाकी एनिमल्स को हम खा रहे हैं, तो दिस इज़ नॉट एनिमल लव व्हाट आई बिलीव इज़. तो ये कंपैशन फैक्टर हो गया. इसके अलावा एनवायरमेंटल रीज़न तो है ही जिसको मैं बचाना चाहता हूँ कि प्रकृति से मैं प्यार करता हूँ. अब प्रकृति से बात जब मैं करता हूँ तो प्रकृति में पेड़ पौधे या माउंटेन्स नहीं आते, हर एक चीज़ आ जाती है. उसका हर एक जीव जंतु, हर एक स्पेशी, बायोडाइवर्सिटी के बारे में बात करते हैं, सारी चीज़ें आ जाती हैं. दैट्स वाई आई डू दैट. तो मेरा ये मानना है कि अगर मैं 10 लोगों को भी बताता हूँ, 10 लोग भी इस वर्ड को स्प्रेड करते हैं तो काफ़ी हेल्प होती है.
The riders left. For some time, we could see the motorcyclists ahead of us. Then we saw them gathered in the lower river valley toward the left. For a long time, they were just there, going up and down. They were not proceeding ahead. We thought maybe they had found some interesting place and had just sat down to have some tea. When we caught up with them, we realized something had gone wrong. They had taken the westward track and they had reached the river too late in the day. The afternoon snowmelt had swollen the Kurgiyak Chu. The crossing point was now deep under fast-moving water. With motorcycles carrying heavy saddlebags, attempting to cross would have been dangerous, perhaps impossible. Once again, the mountains were teaching the same lesson. Good motorcycles were not enough. Protective clothing was not enough. GPS, equipment and enthusiasm were not enough. To travel through these mountains, you had to understand time, temperature, water, altitude, and how quickly a landscape could change. Rahul immediately offered to help. We loaded the luggage into the Fortuner. With the weight removed, the motorcycles had a better chance. One of the lighter bikes managed to cross, but even then, several men had to stand in the freezing water, holding the motorcycles upright and guiding them through the current. Eventually, they were all across. The luggage was returned. The motorcycles were loaded again and told us they would see us further down the road. We watched them disappear into the valley. Then we continued towards Gumbak Rangan. We thought the day's difficulties were behind us. We thought the riders would continue on their journey. We thought we had seen the last of them. We were wrong. We were going to meet them again, much sooner than any of us expected.